September 13, 1982. The hills above the Côte d'Azur. A dark green rover winds down the narrow, treacherous road. Behind the wheel, the global icon, the Princess of Monaco, Grace Kelly. Beside her, a 17-year-old daughter. The morning sun flickers. The turns are hairpin sharp. Suddenly, on a curve she has driven 100 times before, something goes terribly wrong. The car doesn't turn. It straightens, accelerates. There's no time to react. The vehicle smashes through a low stone wall, and for a silent moment, it hangs in the air. Then it plunges. 40 feet down a mountainside. Metal strikes against rocks. Glass shatters. Then a terrible quiet. This was the fall, the literal, brutal end to the fairy tale of Grace Kelly. But to understand the fall, you have to remember the rise. And for those of us who lived through that time, her rise was nothing short of magic. We need to go back to a time of Hollywood glamour that now feels like a distant dream. Before the palace and the prince, she was Grace Patricia Kelly of Philadelphia. She came from a wealthy family, but her dream of acting was met with cold disapproval. Her father, a domineering self-made man, saw the profession as barely respectable. But Grace possessed a quiet, unshakable will. She moved to New York, studied her craft, and with her innate poise and icy blonde beauty, she was noticed. Her arrival in Hollywood was like a breath of fresh air. In the glow of 1950s Technicolor, when the screen was filled with bombshells, Grace was different. She was elegant, reserved, untouchable. Director Alfred Hitchcock, who became obsessed with her, gave it the perfect description. A snow-covered volcano, cool and serene on the surface, with the fire of immense passion underneath. And her talent was undeniable. Fact is, in just 5 years, she built a legendary career. She held her own against Gary Cooper in A High Noon. She earned an Oscar nomination alongside Clark Gable in Mogambo. And in 1954, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for The Country Girl, proving she was more than just a pretty face by playing a plain, downtrodden wife. She was Hitchcock's perfect heroine in masterpieces like Rear Window and To Catch a Thief. By 1955, she wasn't just a star. She was the queen of Hollywood, the embodiment of class. She was on top of the world. But a chance meeting on the French Riviera was about to change the script of her life forever. In 1955, during the Cannes Film Festival, she met Prince Rainier III of Monaco. He was the ruler of a tiny, sun-drenched principality, a real-life prince looking for a wife to secure his dynasty. A whirlwind, transatlantic romance ensued. By Christmas, they were engaged. The world was utterly captivated. America's queen was about to become a real princess. For many of us, the memory is still vivid. April 1956, the wedding of the century. We gathered around our black and white television sets to watch, and there she was, in a gown of impossible beauty, looking every inch the fairy tale princess. 30 million people watched as she said, "I do." It was a moment of pure, unadulterated magic. But behind every fairy tale, there's a price. With that wow, Grace Kelly, at just 26 years old and at the absolute peak of her fame, retired from acting. She walked away from it all. It was a sacrifice of almost unimaginable scale, a fact often lost in the romance of the story. The first step in her fall from the world she had conquered. On the surface, her new life was perfect. She was Princess Grace, a beloved mother of 3, a philanthropist, and a global fashion icon. The famous Hermes Kelly bag is a direct piece of her history. She was admired, adored. But the reality was far more complex. The palace, for all its glamour, became a glided cage. She was a creative soul trapped in a rigid world of royal protocol. The fact is, she desperately missed acting. She once confessed to a reporter, Once you're bitten with the acting bug, you'll never really get over it. Her husband, Prince Rainier, loved her, but he was a traditionalist. He wanted a princess, not a movie star. He even banned her films from being shown in Monaco. Her one chance to escape came in 1962. Alfred Hitchcock offered her the lead in his new film, Marnie. It was a dark, challenging role, and she was desperate to take it. But the people of Monaco were scandalized. Their princess playing a mentally disturbed thief. The public outcry was swift and harsh. Under immense pressure from the palace and the public, a heartbroken Grace withdrew. The door to her former life didn't just close, it was slammed shut forever. She played the part of the perfect princess, perhaps her most challenging role, for 26 years, until one clear September morning. We returned to that winding road. For years, rumors and speculations swirled around the crash. Was it brake failure? Was her young daughter driving? The truth, pieced together by investigators and doctors, was a cruel twist of fate. It was a mechanical failure, and her daughter, Stephanie, was a passenger. The fact is, Princess Grace suffered a catastrophic stroke at the wheel. She was rendered unconscious instantly, her foot likely pressing down on the accelerator. She never knew what happened. She was rushed to the hospital, but the brain damage was too severe. On September 14, 1982, the woman the world knew as Grace Kelly died. She was 52 years old. The world mourned. We remember the shock, the disbelief. At her funeral, old Hollywood royalty like Cary Grant wept beside a generation of royalty like Princess Diana. It was a definitive end of an era. So, what's the legacy of Grace Kelly? Is it the glamour of the films, the magic of the wedding, or the quiet tragedy of a life given up for duty? Her friend Jimmy Stewart said it best in his eulogy, his voice thick with emotion. Grace brought into my life as she brought into yours, a soft, warm light. I'll miss her. We'll all miss her. That light has never really gone out. Her story is one that has echoed through time, a story of ambition, love, immense sacrifice, and ultimately of tragedy. It reminds us that even the most perfect fairy tales are lived by real people with real struggles. If you believe these stories matter, that they deserve to be remembered and echoed with the respect and detail they deserve, then you're in the right place. Help us keep these legacies alive by subscribing to Echoed. She was Hollywood's queen and Monaco's princess, a woman named Grace who lived a life of impossible heights and heartbreaking sacrifice, right up until the final tragic fall.